I'm super excited to be able to put some slides up on such a massive screen. And thank you very much for coming to ArgoCon. I want to have a chat to you today about the State of GitOps Report, because I had a look inside the data that we collected for this report, and wanted to cut it out so I could do a little test to see how does Argo CD do versus the whole rest of the world. And I thought this would be the audience to talk about Argo CD. So this report is available. It's free to download, but today you're getting a completely exclusive look into specifically Argo CD versus the world. I've walked slightly too far from my laptop. Here we go. So the first thing we're going to look at is a thing that is called GitOps score. Now, this is based on the Open GitOps principles. And it's a score between 0 and 100. And the idea behind this is if you're doing all of the GitOps principles, absolutely everything, all the way through to continuous reconciliation, you score 100. And if you've put your stuff in version control, but you're not really reconciling it, you score a lot less. And so this is our first chance to compare what is the GitOps score for people who are using Argo versus people that are using all of the other options. And the answer is the median score for Argo is way higher. So this is very cool. So basically, when it comes to GitOps score, Argo CD absolutely wins. Well done, Argo. We can give Argo a little cheer. Yay! So that's our first win for Argo CD. Now what I'm going to do now is go through a whole bunch of other things that we might want to measure to see how Argo CD compares to the whole rest of the world. And the next thing on the list is deployment frequency. So deployment frequency, you probably know what this is already, but I'm going to tell you again anyway. How often do we deploy our software to production? And we know from the DORA research that if you can deploy more often, that tends to mean that you're performing better. That helps your organization hit its goals and do better as well. This is, in general, this is a good thing. So how does Argo CD do for deployment frequency? And the answer is, although it's only a median score of 50, we'd like that to be maybe a bit higher, that's still better than the rest of the world. So it's another win for Argo CD. Yay, well done, Argo. Okay, so now let's move on to our next thing to measure. And again, these are things that have been verified by DORA's research. Lead time for changes. This is, when I commit my code change, how long does it take that change to get all the way through to production? And this is a really good way of assessing the health of our delivery pipelines. We may not have customers who want to receive updates all that often, but the ability to deploy quite quickly in terms of lead time for changes does mean that if there's like a critical CVE, we can remediate that super fast. That's a good thing. And so, how does Argo do? This is a massive difference. So Argo CD has a median score of 75 versus the rest of the world, just 50. So the lead time for changes on Argo is way better. And that means it's another win for Argo. Yay! Okay, change failure rate. This refers to when we deploy a new version of our software, how often does that cause us a problem? Now, hopefully it's never, but I think we all know it's always sometimes. So this is another opportunity for us to look at Argo CD versus the world. And the graph says, actually it's not that different. But I'll let you into a little secret, because this is a huge disappointing moment in the middle of a talk. No one wants to have this. What you'll notice is that the scores for everyone are really high. That means that we're not failing that much. So anyone who's doing GitOps tends to be doing reasonably well. And Argo is at that same level, so it's no worse. So it does mean I have to put up a very disappointing slide of it's inconclusive. But that's okay, because we have another one. Time to restore. So in those rare occasions, because we could see the scores were super high on change failure rate, on those rare occasions where we do need to recover, the recovery time is how long between that fault happening and us getting things back into a working state. And we've got another graph for this, which says Argo is acing it. Again, it's up a median of about 75 compared to 50 for the rest of the world. This is a huge difference. So we're recovering much faster with Argo than with the other tools. which means it's another win for Argo CD. Yay! Okay, so as I said, this data all comes from the State of GitOps Report. I'd love people to give me feedback on this report. This is a report just about GitOps, about the practices, the principles. What we found in this report is that a lot of people are not completing the reconciliation loop. Now, in this room, you most likely are, because Argo is really built to take advantage of those GitOps principles. But if you haven't got things syncing, definitely consider doing that, because we saw a lot more benefits coming once you get the whole process in place. You can connect with me online. You can come and chat to me. I'll be just upstairs. And I'm happy to talk about research all day long, whether that's this research or the DORA research. And thank you very much. You can now all go and find coffee. Thank you.